How are you doing, guys? And welcome back to TSTV. Now, I was last with you yesterday, but I thought I'd give a little bonus video today as there's a few bits of Chelsea news to run through, including the release of the 25-26 fixture list for the Premier League season, which is always an exciting day. I know a lot of people always say we have to play everyone twice, but it's always good to see when key fixtures are coming and what your start looks like, what your end looks like, who you're playing on Boxing Day. So I'll run through that and maybe give my initial thoughts on the fixtures, although we know they do change throughout the season depending on TV or FA Cup games and things like that. There's also an update on Mykhailo Mudryk's latest situation and a new transfer link as well. So let's get down to it. So yeah, let's go through the 2025 fixtures for Chelsea. Now, I'm going to be reading off a screen, so whether that's the most exciting content in the world, I'm not sure, but I'll try and give you a brief run through of every month, and then we can go through little bits and pieces as we go. So we kick off with Crystal Palace at home, which is on Sunday at 2 p.m. And then also in August is West Ham away and Fulham at home. In September, we got Brentford away, Manchester United away, Brighton at home. In October, Liverpool at home, Forest away, England at home. In November, it's a big one, Tottenham away, Wolves at home, Burnley away, Arsenal at home. December looks absolutely stacked, and I think there's two Champions League fixtures and potentially a Carabao Cup semi-final if we get there as well. So there's Leeds away, Bournemouth away, Everton at home, Newcastle away, Aston Villa at home, Bournemouth at home. In January, first game of the new year is Manchester City away, then Fulham away, Brentford at home, Palace away, West Ham at home. February, Wolves away, Leeds United away, Burnley at home, Arsenal away. March, Villa away, Newcastle at home, Everton away. April, Manchester City at home, Manchester United at home, Brighton away. And then finally in May, Forest at home, Liverpool away, Tottenham at home, Sunderland away. Now, I think if you look at the start of the season, it's not too bad in the sense that I don't think we leave London for the first month, and that could be a positive in the sense that obviously we're coming back from the Club World Cup, we're not going to get much for pre-season, and if we're limiting the travel as much as we can, maybe that is a very, very good thing for us, just to kind of give players more recovery time rather than sitting on coaches or planes going to different destinations. The one caveat to that, though, I would add, is that obviously for a lot of these teams, Chelsea's one of their biggest games of the season, particularly for Fulham and Brentford, West London rivals. West Ham as well, we're arguably their biggest rivals along with Tottenham. I know Millwall, but they're in the Championship. So for a lot of those teams, it's going to be their cup final. They're going to go into the season full of optimism. So not easy as it looks. You'd hope to get a few points on the board there, but I think that could potentially be tricky. And then you go to Manchester United away after Brentford, which is our first game outside of London. Manchester United, absolutely terrible last season. They have added Matheus Cunha, and it looks like they might get Brian and Bremo, but who knows what they're going to be like. If they're anything like last season, then surely we can finally get that long-awaited win at Old Trafford. We've not won at Old Trafford since 2013, which is 12 years, which is unbelievable, really, because when I was growing up, even when Manchester United were an incredible team under Sir Alex Ferguson, we regularly used to go there and beat them, but they've been absolutely terrible for about 10 years now and we haven't won there once in any competition. So you think by the law of averages that has got to end at some point, so hopefully that is this season. So in terms of the start, I think on paper it looks okay, but as I say, for a lot of these teams, we're going to be almost like their cup final. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, Brentford away, we could get them at a good time, to be fair. They'll have a new manager after Thomas Frank went to Tottenham. So we'll see how they adapt to that. He's caused us a lot of problems when he's been at Brentford. And you think maybe that a couple of their players might leave. There'll be a new face in the dugout. So maybe they're one to watch for relegation this season, actually. So maybe we'll catch them at a good time. But I think it will be difficult. And I think, again, it's a bit of a cliche. I don't think there's any real massively easy fixtures in the Premier League. And I think this season will be a bit different as well. I don't think the promoted teams will be quite as bad. I think Leeds will give it a good go. I think Sunderland may struggle quite a bit. I think their squad is quite weak. And Burnley under Scott Parker, now they were really resilient defensively last season and could kind of run quite a tight ship this season as well. So they may not be as flaky as they were when Company came up with them a couple of years ago. I don't think there's too many easy fixtures across the season. We don't seem to have a patch of really easy fixtures at any given point. But obviously the whole point of a league season is you do play everyone twice and you try and accumulate points on a consistent basis. Now, the one thing I think is worth noting is that the end of the season is incredibly difficult. So I'm going to run you through our last games. So from 28th of February, Arsenal away, Villa away, Newcastle at home, Everton away, City at home, United at home, Brighton away, Forest at home, Liverpool away, Tottenham at home, and it's Sunderland away. Up until that Sunderland away game, I don't actually think we could ask for much more difficult fixtures, if I'm being honest. That is absolutely brutal. You'd think if we're going to achieve anything this season, we're going to need to accumulate a lot of points up until that time of the season. The one positive, I would say, again, to caveat the negativity, is that the last 2 seasons, we've ended the season really, really well. And maybe you could spin it in the sense that maybe it's a good time to have those fixtures if we kind of peak at the right time. And maybe we're more likely to accumulate points then than we will be another point in the season, but it's incredibly tough. I didn't think we'd go on a title charge this season anyway. I would like us to be in the mix, but I think with this run in, I think that kind of makes it impossible, because you're going to drop points a few times in that run, and we just need to try and pick up steady results and try to accumulate a lot of points in the first half of the season. Very, very tough end to the season. Look, I'm excited. I'm always excited when a new season comes up. It doesn't feel like it's long since the last one's finished. And obviously, we're in the unusual position at the moment of being in the Club World Cup as well. So who knows what shape we'll be in start the season. I think it's going to be a bit of an unknown quantity for us in Manchester City. You could say maybe we'll be in good physical condition because we've had more competitive match time. You could also say we could be undercooked because we have a short pre-season, and we could pay the price later on down the line. So it's going to be even harder to tell than usual, to be honest. I'm optimistic going into the new season, as long as we get our recruitment right. That is the most important thing. And if we get our recruitment right, if we can get some decent rest after the Club World Cup, then who knows? Who knows what can happen? For me, next season, the targets will be maybe a title challenge up until maybe about March, and then to consolidate top 4 a bit more comfortably, a nice run in the Champions League, and maybe a domestic cup. Obviously, as we build closer to the new season, I'll do a more in-depth preview of that. But I think those have got to be the targets. And if we are in the title hunt up until March, I think the end of the season may put an end to that, to be very, very honest with you. But let's wait and see. Just obviously, in terms of the Christmas period, and that's always an interesting time of the season. So on the 13th of December, we've got Everton at home, Newcastle away, Villa at home, Bournemouth at home. So 3 home games, which is nice. Newcastle away is a game you always struggle in. That'll be probably under the lights around Christmas time. That's an incredibly tough game. Bournemouth at home, we always tend to struggle against Bournemouth at home. At home, we generally beat. And in Villa, again, our record's very up and down. So we'll have to see what sort of shape we're in at that point. Not an easy fixture list during the Christmas period, but not an absolute disastrous one either. And then obviously, first game into the new year is City away. That will be a tough game. We've got a really poor record against Man City since winning the Champions League against them in 2021. So it's going to be a tough season, I think. It's going to be a tough season. I think there's a lot of good teams in the league. I don't think it will be as much of a walkover as it was last year for Liverpool. I think teams will get that act together a little bit. So, hopefully we can kick on as well. So, I'll leave that as the fixture list for now. As I said, there's a lot of water under the bridge before the start of the season anyway, so I won't go too much more in depth on it at this moment. As I mentioned at the start of the video, there's been some more news regarding Mykhailo Mudryk and his ban for doping, which we found out about in December. Now, since then, it went very, very quiet because they were waiting for a B sample from Mudryk. And I think a lot of the news about that is embargoed. I don't think reporters can actually ask about him in press conferences, and I don't think there was allowed to be much kind of in-depth chat around it from the club and also the media. Now, the FA have come out today and said that they're essentially charging Mudryk with anti-doping violations. That could lead to up to a 4-year ban. Obviously, Mudryk and the club can appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which I imagine he will do. He's denied deliberately taking substances at any point. And, you can imagine it's a very, very hard time for him. And I do feel sorry for him. It's a bit of a different situation than Adrian Mutu, who was a Chelsea player 20-odd years ago, who was banned for taking cocaine, amongst other things, and the club basically rescinded his contract and had a massive legal dispute with him for a number of years about repaying his transfer fee. And I think that's very different because he's gone out and essentially been very, very unprofessional. Whereas the Mudryk situation, there's a lot more questions and answers, to be very honest. But I think as a human being, I feel for him. It obviously wasn't going amazingly well for him anyway. He was playing a fair bit in the Conference League last season and was doing okay, but couldn't really get a look into the league side. He's not really adapted like we hoped he would. I know obviously it's a difficult time for his country at the moment, so whether that's had an effect too, I'm not quite sure. But it has been very, very tough for him, and now this is an even bigger blow because essentially if he does get the full 4-year ban, that's his career pretty much done, because who's going to be able to take him on at the end of that 4 years? He will still have time in his Chelsea contract, incidentally, at that point, but he's not going to get back into the team. We're not going to be able to really sell him, so it's going to be completely in limbo. The only thing I could think, if it's the worst case scenario, is that maybe we send him on loan to Saudi Arabia, who will take a punt on him, or maybe we do give him sort of League Cup minutes as and when he regains fitness to try and drive some market value. But well, he's dead in the water in terms of his career if he gets the full ban. Now, if it's a year, Pogba recently got charged with anti-doping violations. I think it was initially going to be 4 years, the full term, but I think he did about 18 months. Mudryk's already done from December until now, so I'm not sure whether that will count as part of his ban. So if you look at a year to 18 months, that's kind of like a really, really bad injury, so maybe not quite as disastrous. Still pretty bad for him. I still don't see a future at Chelsea for him, but he may have an opportunity to get his career back on track. But we're going to have to see what happens with that one. But yeah, I know there's a lot of people gunning for him and a lot of people, being a bit, well, I guess the word is mean about it. But I do feel quite sorry for him on a personal level, and hopefully he gets the help he needs. Hopefully the club are still supporting him in other ways. But yeah, obviously any updates we get on that, we'll talk about it on the channel. And another transfer link, João Pedro. Now, he's been linked a little bit with us throughout the summer. Mainly it's been Newcastle that have been linked with him. But there's reports that we've made an inquiry for around about £58 million. Look, it's another Brighton player. People are going to make those jokes again. It's actually been a little while since we signed someone from Brighton, and so I'm quite surprised. But I mean, I don't know how to analyse this one. Obviously, it may happen, it may not. But I think he's a good player. He does pick up quite a lot of injuries, but I think his ceiling is quite high. But it's not a transfer that moves the needle for me in terms of really uplifting the team. I don't know really where he fits into a best starting 11. At best, I think he would be kind of a squad player coming in here and there across the front line. But yeah, I'm not sure it's a transfer that will have a massive effect on our fortunes either way. So look, he's a good player, but is he going to move the dial for us or raise our floor as a team? I'm not quite sure, but we'll see what happens with that one. We're going to be continually linked with players as the summer goes on. As I say, it wasn't like a massive report saying we've made a bid and negotiations are ongoing, but I think Fabrizio Romano and a few other people have said that, it's one to keep an eye on from us. So, yeah, I guess we'll watch this space, and I guess we'll see what happens with transfers over the coming weeks and months ahead. Yeah, that's it for the video, guys. It was a fair bit of news today, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a bonus video for you. I will do another video previewing the game against Flamengo, as I mentioned yesterday, and I think that'll be a good game, as I mentioned, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of team they put out. But anyway, yeah, take care of yourself, guys. Enjoy your evening, and I'll see you very soon.